Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the latest episode of Supernatural, Sunder Has Some Regrets. And I really enjoyed this episode. It was a lot better in my opinion than the previous episode, and exemplifies another good example of a Supernatural episode that's filler, but works very well doing character moments, information and lore, and dealing with like the Nephilim and giving us some more lore on that and kind of tying it into kind of their general plans for what they're going to be doing with Lucifer's Nephilim when they find it. So this episode starts out and we see this one woman playing this video game in this arcade, and the bartender's kind of like, cheese, like, come on, after I go outside and get all this, and you need to leave. So he goes out, and then this lady with this eye patch shows up and saying, aren't you a little too old to be playing video games and all that? And the other woman's like, who are you and all that? And tries to use her powers on her and saying that kind of won't work. And pulls out two angel blades while the other woman pulls out an angel blade as well. And they start this kind of back and forth fight. Now, the eye patch lady does lose one of her angel blades, but that kind of becomes important later on. But she is still able to subdue the angel and tells the angel to call out for help. Then starts doing this invocation, and then other angels start hearing it, and Cass is one of those angels. And after that kind of stuff's done, the eye patch lady kills the angel and leaves, and is like, oh, what's this going on? So then we get to Sam, Dean, and Cass at the bunker, and Dean is giving Cass the silent treatment because he's ticked off that he's done something to incur cosmic consequences again, but it's kind of hypocritical of Dean since he's done so many moves like that before as well. It's like, come on, you could at least be civil with Cass over this. Not doing like the complete silent treatment and all that, but that still fits within Dean's character wheelhouse. So they're pretty much like that, kind of getting digs on each other sometimes, but then Cass comes and says, you know what, I need to go do something personal, and Sam's like, well, we'll help you with it. It's like, both of you? No? Yeah. So they get in the car and they start going on, but they're still doing the silent treatment, and Sam looks so uncomfortable and tries to get them to talk to each other, and of course they start sniping at each other again while Cass is trying to give information on the angel, Benjamin, and talking about how his vessel is very important to him, that they're friends pretty much, and he wouldn't let anything happen to that vessel. Very careful with it and wouldn't want to put it in danger. So they get to the bar and we see Cass really kind of reflecting over the angel's destiny and the wings and all that. And he tells the bartender to leave. And he's like really kind of shaken up. And that's when Sam and Dean are kind of doing their like detective thing. Like, no, okay. But what's going on? Are you okay? He's like, yeah, I served with Benjamin, and we were really close soldiers and all that. So he then finds the angel blade that the eye patch lady had left. And while we're seeing this going on, we also see her doing this like whispering or whatnot. And then Cass picks it up, hears it, and then we see her wake up and say Castiel, kisses a picture of this little girl, and then leaves. And then he says, we need to go right now. And that leads them to talking about Isham. And they go to a place, and Cass is like, let me go on alone. I told him I'd be coming alone. They don't like humans. Just let me do this. He was the one that we served under. Let's go. Let me go. So he goes in and meets the other angel that was also called Mirabelle, and they get to talking about and saying how they kept their vessels because they were careful, and what happened to Cass, since he was like a soldier, a great angel and whatnot, and he's looked at as a hero by some and as a villain by others. And he's not really defending himself against Isham, and it's like, okay. Cass just trying to get more information and get what's going on, since other angels have been killed as well that had been in their flight, their kind of group or whatnot. We still don't know exactly how the angel hierarchy is, but at least this is what they call a flight that I guess work together, kind of like doing their own kind of thing whenever they're sent orders. And then, of course, Dean's getting fed up with waiting outside and then comes in and says like, yep, okay. And, of course, Isham has like a disdain for the Winchesters as well as Mirabelle. And he's like, all right, Mirabelle, go out and try and find out and see if they've been followed or anything or there's any other people out there. And then she goes down an alley and starts fighting the eye patch lady. And it's not going very well for her. And the eye patch lady kills her. And then, of course, Isham's telling him, you know what? We'll go to someplace private, talk about what's going on, and it'll be better and it'll be safer. So he goes around out back, sees Mirabelle dead, and then starts this fight with the eye patch lady. And he gets severely wounded before Cass comes in, and it doesn't really get too bad, but they still start fighting enough that Sam and Dean come in, and she's like, you know what? She gets wounded then as well. And she's like, listen, I don't have anything against humans. When Sam and Dean come in, this isn't your fight. And they're like, what's up? And then she uses some power, blinds everybody, and bolts away in a Mustang. And Dean's like, did you get the license plate? And he's like, yeah, I got this. And it's like, whoo, what's going on here? This is like really kind of strange because she's got powers and stuff that angels are having a hard time dealing with. So then we get the kind of backstory about what's going on, that this person is known to these angels. We go back to Maine in 1901 and we see everybody involved, and we even see Cass in an older vessel. And I think that actress did a good job. It was kind of strange seeing Cass in a woman vessel, but you could still tell it was Cass because she was still able to put forth the mannerisms that exemplify Castiel, and talking about why they're there. Because they say that Isham's saying that, alright, Angel is down here, took a human wife, have a Nephilim. We're here to take care of that stuff. And it's like, wow. Okay, so they start going up, and then two other angels kind of support and come in, and then we see two people come out. One of them is the eye patch woman, and one of them is the angel. And let's see, Echo Bell. They do a real good job with all different kinds of angel names, but that one was a different one that was really different. And he's kind of like tells her to go back inside, that he's going to deal with it, and then of course the angels get him. Castiel's the one kind of pronouncing the sentence, you've broken our oldest laws with a Nephilim and all that, and then one of the other angels executes him. And then Isham goes in to deal with the Nephilim, and we hear the commotion and everything going on, and that's pretty much where we get everything in view of what we think's going on. So, this lady, Lily Sunder, was the wife, lost her daughter, and supposedly the man she loved, and is going out for vengeance. We see this as Cass is trying to pretty much heal Isham and all that, and kind of like get everything back into order. And it was kind of interesting to see the juxtaposition of that, as well as Lily healing herself as well. It's like, what are her kind of powers? And it's like, what the crap? We get more information on her as well, as we figure out that Isham's telling us that she's a professor of apocalyptic literature, does study angels extensively, speaks fluent Enochian, and it's like, that's important stuff. That's big stuff to be able to fight angels as well as be infatuated by them, see where this can go. Now, granted, they at first think that she's dealing with kind of like dark powers to get her powers to fight angels, because they're like, that's the only thing that would make sense. And they're like, okay, she's over 100 years old, she wants revenge, we just gotta figure out what's going on here. So Sam and Dean go to check that out to figure out what's going on with her, and Cass and Isham are the ones just kind of like left back. So they do get to Lily, and she's like, my quarrel's not with you, don't mess with me. And of course they're talking to her about like, we're sorry about your daughter and all that, and she's like, my daughter was my world. And she starts telling her side of the story, how that Akobel wasn't the father, that that was a human daughter, and that she had summoned Isham. And at first she was infatuated, looking on the face of the divine, but then found out that he had become obsessed with her and wanted to get away from her, and that's why she went to Akobel, to protect her. And that Isham's whole thing was a facade, and that he did it pretty much to take out Akobel, and then he said to her that I'm going to break your heart, like you broke mine, and kills her daughter. And that was like, holy crap, that's a big thing. And Sam and Dean are like, you believe her? Kinda. We gotta check this out. So they try and call Cass. No dice. So Dean goes off while Sam stays with Lily. And we get kind of even more information about her through Sam, and that he's talking to her, and we find out that her powers are angel magic, and that to use that magic, it burns up her soul, like pointing to her eye and like the healing and all that. Everything that she's doing, she'll eventually become soulless and cease to be human and all that, and care about anything. Talking about how she used to dream about her daughter every night, and now she doesn't dream about her daughter. All she cares about is getting revenge and everything, until she would probably burn up the rest of that with her soul and then not care about anything. And of course Sam can kind of relate to being in a soulless state, since that happened to him, and he's like really kind of freaked out about that. So Dean's able to get back, kind of fill Cass in, and Isham's like, would you believe him over me? And then of course they start kind of fighting, and Cass is drained because he had healed Isham, and is pretty much beating the crap out of Cass. And then goes after Dean, and Dean was about to use some Enochian magic, but he's like, alright, try it. Because if you do, you have a chance of killing Cass. And Dean, of course, doesn't do that. He can't let that fly. But at that moment, we get to see Lily and Sam come in, and Lily starts fighting Isham pretty well. I mean, she really holds her own in all the fights that are going on. And then she pulls out the big one of like pushing him back, like showing her eye glowing and all that, but she's not completely strong enough to hold him back. And then that's when Cass comes in and delivers the death blow to Isham and says to Lily, I'm sorry for everything. And you can really see it in Cass. This kind of stuff tears him up inside. All this stuff that all these other angels have told him to do. Learning about all of these betrayals of just being, you would think you're doing the right thing, and you're shown that you're not later on, that you're doing it for some other person's game, some other person's vendetta, and just tearing you up inside, because you see that in Cass. Now granted, he's not really that emotive, but you can see it in his face, and when he's talking about this kind of stuff, and he says to her, if you don't forgive me, I'll be waiting for you to take your chance. And then, of course, she walks off because Isham was the main one. Granted, she held the other ones accountable as well, but I think she kind of finally was able to understand and let go, because also Castiel was important in helping deliver the revenge that she wanted. And then we kind of see at the end, Dean's kind of like warmed up. He's like, we're waiting for the other shoe to drop, and Cass is like, I'm going to deal with it. I've got no problem with that. I'm not sitting here like twiddling my thumbs going like, there's not going to be another shoe. I'm ready to deal with that. And then they're talking about like, alright, what about Lucifer's Nephilim? I'm like, Nephilim by themselves are like some of the most powerful creatures ever. They've got a human soul with angelic grace. They can destroy worlds. One from an archangel and the devil, no less. I can't even imagine that kind of power. And then Sam brings in the important point, well, it's still a mom and her kid. Can you still do it? And he's like, there was a point in time that I wouldn't hesitate to do it. I don't know now. And that just shows Cass's character growth, in that not everything is black and white, like ordered to do and not ordered to do, good and evil. There's some things that you have to take into account, because what they did to Lily was wrong. And he's able to acknowledge that, was able to rectify that by acting and helping her rectify it. And granted, you have to watch out for revenge because she paid a heavy price. But he's got to make sure that this Nephilim understands the power that it has, and hopefully can choose good over evil, and to not treat it just as evil just because it came from someone who is evil. And that's the kind of cool stuff that I hope they are able to drive through going through the rest of this arc and dealing more with the Nephilim. This really showed growth in how Cass is like maturing and kind of getting more of a humanity even though he's an angel. And of course, seeing Dean kind of dealing with that effect because he's used to Cass being his weird kind of standoffish self, and I don't think he's used to Cass kind of like acknowledging the consequences like this because they've had a hard time with like the season 6 Cass pretty much trying to become God and then kind of dealing with that kind of fallout. And then we've got him here, he's doing actions that you would think would be trying to be like God, but he's not. He's like, I don't want you to do these sacrifices. You're needed here. You're needed to help people. And yes, I will deal with the consequences of my actions. And that's cool. And that's really big character growth for all of them over around. And I'm hopeful to see this kind of carried through and as we deal more with like Lucifer's Nephilim. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.